hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. In my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories From Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are now underway. So I hope you're having a great evening, and thank you all for tuning in and joining us. I see a lot of wonderful, friendly faces piling into the chat, so it's always amazing to see you guys, and thank you so much for being a part of every show you can be. It's just so humbling and wonderful, and it is a family, and thank you guys for making it a family, and thanks for being a part of my family. So hope you guys are doing well. We got a lot of stories piled up. I've been getting some wonderful emails too. Thank you guys, for the emails and some of the videos you guys are sending in. Very cool. That's new for me. I haven't never received videos before, and now I've got, several of them, and it kind of started with, Christy, and now I've got a couple more. So it's really exciting, and I can't wait to show them to you guys. But we'll probably unveil those on the weekend shows, either Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure which. Probably Friday though. But yeah, we'll they're wonderful, wonderful videos. I just got one not an hour ago, and I was like, oh my God, that's really cool. I can't say for sure what it is, but if it is what I think it is, that's amazing. So looking forward to showcasing that with you guys. And another amazing ghost video that we caught. It's a very short one, but very profound activity. So very, very cool. I'm really thrilled. I just love that you guys are sending those in. So thank you so much. And if you have videos of your own you want to showcase on the show, please send them in. paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And the phones are open as always here on the Portal Bedtime Stories. So if you've got something you want to share or some opinion of the paranormal, please feel free to send it in. God, I'm getting a headache. Ugh, it's been a long day, but a good day. Don't get me wrong. I just feel it in my temple. It's like, oh. I also got something to share with you about the Ghost app. That's kind of curious, and I'll share that with you in just a few minutes. But I hope you all are ready, because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are now underway, so hope you're doing good. Now, I wanted to talk to you about this Ghost app. Now, it's been a part of the show for, I don't know, the better part of a year now anyway, and, it just said something, and I don't know what this word is. M-A-I-K-A, Micah? M-A-I-K-A. I have no idea what that word is, but now I got to look it up. And I'll share you what I think is pretty profound. I've been leaving it running ever since last night. I have not shut it off, and it's been running. And I've gotten to really cool things through it today, which I'm really a little surprised at. And I'll get into those in just a second. But I got to go to translate.google.com and see if we can figure out what the hell Maika is. So it's a Bulgarian word that means mother. Wow. So a Bulgarian word that means mother just came through my Ghost app. And literally, like, just now it came through. Is there anybody with Bulgarian ancestry or something, or anyone in the chat? Please let me know. That's pretty interesting. It's Maika, Maika. It also appears in the weird Slavic letters. I don't know. Ma looks like a backwards N with a swoop over it. Ka. I don't know. Very weird. If that is indeed the right word, I don't know. But that just came out now. So for whatever that's worth, I don't know. Mother's Day is coming, Brent. Oh, that's right, Jess. You're right. Huh. That's really cool. Again, that's really profound. Okay, so what happened today was pretty curious. Two or three things. Let me see. All right, so, that's interesting. So earlier today, I was sitting in the room, and I was in the office here checking and uploading the podcast for tomorrow, which will be released. By the way, don't miss that if you wouldn't mind checking it out. That'd be really cool. It certainly helps us out. Again, find our podcast wherever you find podcasts to listen to, and that can be iHeart. We got our own iHeart channel out there on the podcast realm. We've got, which is a Paranormal Portal one. We've got iTunes. I saw a new one that I'd never seen before today, Himalaya, which is apparently a iPod player that links to iTunes, I think, and Pandora, Spotify, Google Play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So wherever you get your podcast from, definitely check it out. But so when I was doing this earlier today, a really cool thing happened. It was a beautiful sunny day all day, but then I came in here and all of a sudden I noticed the clouds. There was clouds all over in the sky, and nothing really dark and brooding, but just that the sky had clouded up, and I was like, I wonder if it's supposed to be cloudy now. And I was kind of thinking about that, and I got back to doing what I was doing, and then all of a sudden the Ghost app says cloudy. And no kidding, came through, said cloudy. Now that was really, really peculiar, I thought, that it came through, and it was relative to what was going on outside the window. So is that an indication that perhaps there is an intelligence that's working through this? Maybe. I don't know. Now, the next thing that was really profound that happened today was I got a phone call, and I got on the phone and I started talking, and all of a sudden the Ghost app says phone. So boom. I don't know. I don't know. That's pretty profound. Now, it also said some weird words like single and lead, LEAD. It said single at another time after phone. And the person I was talking to wasn't single, so I don't know what that means. A repair came through earlier before cloudy alloy came through. So I don't know. A lot of those seem like nonsense words. But every once in a while, what does this say? Jalisco. And this was 9 o'clock this morning. It said Jalisco. Jalisco. Now I got to look up what that word means too. And I'm doing it with you guys because I haven't looked into these all day. What was it? Jalisco. Jalisco. No idea. Google Translate doesn't even know what that word is. So it's making up words too, apparently. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that part. But so it was cloudy. It had been a beautiful sunny day and it became cloudy. Boom, it says cloudy. I got a phone call. It says phone. So two really, really profound correlations today that I thought were pretty impressive. How does that work out? Well, if it was just random, if it was just a random occurrence, it shouldn't even make sense more than once a month that something would come through, and and that might be random chance that it might trigger at the same time something of relevant significance was happening. Now, two times in just a couple hours, to me, seems pretty profound. If you're talking purely mathematical, that this application would spit out a random word at a time when I was getting a phone call, that alone is astronomical. The odds are really, really against that ever happening just by chance. Now, I don't know. And again, this is an old application. It's long before AI was ever developed. It's probably from the early, maybe around 2010-ish. So it's quite old, but it still works. It still runs on my computer, so I still run it. I don't know. I think there might be something to it. Perhaps. But again, I'm not completely convinced, but those are two. Normally, I think the word generator was kind of like, well, something's triggering it, and that may be paranormal, but the word it spits out I didn't really think was ever really very relevant. But twice today it was extraordinarily relevant to what was going on. So interesting, and I thought I'd share that with you because I do play at every one of these bedtime stories. This application is always running. So if, as you guys are aware, what's Mika Jalisco? Hold on. I don't know what that name is. Let me look that up. What is Mika Jalisco? Mika Jalisco. I don't have anything like that. Huh. And it was Micah, Maika was the name, not Mika. So Micah. But okay. I thought okay, not a thing, a person. Maybe you're right. I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting take on it. Thank you. And I appreciate that. I believe you're right. It's what you make. It says we are more powerful than we think, you guys. You're absolutely right. We are. We are creator beings. And that is the truth. Making stuff happen, and it's exciting and awesome. I think we are, but I think that there's also other energies and stuff as well that exist beyond our normal awareness. I do agree with what you're saying. It's what you make it. I think you're absolutely right that we are. But I don't think that we are autonomous in all of this. I think that we are creating in concert and with other creator beings that are here with us. And so, I don't know, this is what you weren't asking for this, but I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents on it. But I think there are, it is possible to create things in and for yourself, but I think that there are some contingencies or logistics to that need to be considered as well. And part of it is a group expectation of what reality is. And so that's why it's important to raise awareness among several groups of people in order to create more change, because then you don't have the opposing energy fields trying, vying for whatever the reality happening is. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. But that's why awareness and sharing and trying to lift people up is important, because when you raise that vibration, that consciousness, then creating in concert with another person or other people is so much more profoundly powerful than trying to do it in and of yourself on your own against every other energy out there. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm just throwing it out there because you did say it in the chat room. So great to see everybody coming in. Hi. Let's go see who is in here. Let me get a list and see. It's pretty good. Aussie Tiger Rock fam, Diana Daniels, Orcut is in here. Gemini's in here. It's What You Make It. Jess is in here. Michael Holtz. Nicholas is in here. Pam is in here. I'm in here. Spirit Fox Paranormal Dundee is in here. Stacy Lynn. is in here. Suzanne Page, and the spaces between. Oh, hey, Paisley, good to see you. Glad you made it in. So, excellent. Great to see all of you guys here, and I see the numbers are still climbing on the chat room. Virginia is in here. Kate is in here. Francis Urban Spirits Vlogs. Good to see you, Francis Urban Spirits Vlogs. Michael Holtz. Did I already say your name, Mike? If not, welcome. I was just telling Mikey the days we miss are not as good as the days we do come to the portal. Oh, all right. Well, that's what I get for just catching a glimpse of the chat. But I hope what I said made sense anyway. But I appreciate it. So, yeah, I mean, take it or leave it. But I don't know. The Ghost app's kind of impressing me today. So we'll see if it continues its impressive track record. And the reason why I left it on was because I thought, well, all right, this is the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories, and I'm not really reading stories right now, but I think this dialogue is kind of important. So I've always had a little bit of a hang up with paranormal investigators bringing things like the ovulus. And an ovulus is this little box that has an antenna on it, and the spirits are supposed to be able to use their energies to manipulate a word database that's stored in there to spit out words. Now, there's a few things that I struggle with that, and it's not that much different than what I'm running here on the laptop, that allegedly spirits can use their energy to trigger words. And whether you believe in that or not is up to you. But for things like the ovulus, the problem that I have with that is, how do they know? How do they know what energy creates what words? Where's the learning curve on that? So, I mean, like anything else, being a spirit doesn't suddenly plug you into superpowers, especially for earthbound spirits. Perhaps the ones that have transitioned are plugged into the universal knowledge and they don't have to worry about, figuring things out because it's just all there. But for an earthbound spirit, if you're trying to communicate with it, how does it just intuitively know how to make its energy create words? And, that's the problem I have with it. So I was thinking, why don't I just leave this on and just see if whatever process is taken by the icicle. I don't know. That seems that doesn't seem real relevant right now. But thank you. So whatever process is underway, in order for a spirit to learn how to create words, I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it run, because then if there really is a presence here, then it can practice and figure out how to start spitting out real words that make sense, other than icicle, which doesn't seem to make any sense at all. But whatever the case is, that's my theory on it. I'm just leaving it run. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated if it spits out anything profound, any more profound stuff, but we'll see. So let me get to these stories. I'm just checking. Nope, no calls, nothing. Mr. Archives, how you doing? How you doing there? All right, Mr. Don, good to see you. And who else? Lori Babineau, welcome. Oh, Jerry did? Okay, cool. That's cool. All right, so let's get to these tales I've pulled up for you tonight. Now, this one is coming from Michigan. So let's see. This one's kind of long. But let's get underway. This is a story that I can vividly remember. When I was a young kid, we would often take trips out of state and visit family. I always had a blast because I'd be able to play with all my cousins and visit with family I hadn't seen in an incredibly long time. One particular trip we took was to Michigan. And well, this trip wasn't a good trip because of the circumstances that we had to go on. See, my mother had an aunt that, well, not too many of the people in my family spoke of for various reasons. Not too many people spoke of this aunt for various reasons, but mainly because she liked to dabble in black magic or witchcraft. Yikes. Or my mammy would say brujaria. 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 Well, needless to say, she wasn't very popular in the family, but seeing that she was family, we had to go and pay our respects to her. Now, we arrived in Michigan and, of course, needed a place to stay, and all that was available at that time was my mom's aunt's house, which had only 2 bedrooms, and one of the 2 bedrooms was occupied by her grandson, who lived with her. So, of course, my brother and I, along with my parents, shared the aunt's room. Now, things were fine up until the point when my younger brother and I had to go to bed. And being active kids, we didn't want to sleep and tried to find any excuse not to sleep that night. As we laid there, we played various games like I Spy, but this game of I Spy was a little different. It was my brother's turn, and, well, he said, "I spy something black. I spy something black with yellow eyes. I spy something black with yellow eyes and purrs." And, of course, I said cat. Then tried looking around for this cat my brother spied, and there it was, at the top of the bed looking down at us on the floor. So my brother and I started to play with the cat until we made so much noise that my mom came in to scold us. And of course we told her that it was a cat that we were playing with when she questioned us why we weren't asleep. And then she replied that there was no cat at the house and we needed to go to sleep. As soon as she walked out, we heard my mom's cousin tell her that there was a cat at the house at one point, but that it died a few years earlier, and proceeded to tell my mom that after the cat died, her aunt Trini used some of her magic and cast a spell for the cat to come back and protect the house and her. My mom in return said to her cousin that it was best that it be kept from us. Later that night, based on what my mom told me years later, my mom and her cousin stayed up catching up on old times when my mom saw the cat coming down the stairs. She said it started at the top of the stairs and then worked his way down very slowly. That was nothing out of the norm until my mom saw the cat come down the stairs and change shape into a man. She said she had seen the cat change shape going down the stairs, then change shape going back up. When she questioned her cousin again about the cousin replied that the cat that my grandmother brought back, but that she intentionally cast a spell where the cat would be able to shape into a man so no one would be suspicious when seen talking to a man other than a cat. This isn't written really well, but I understand what they're trying to say. The rest of the time we were there, we experienced a number of different things. We would see the image of my aunt Trini in mirrors we would pass. Hear people talking in her room when no one was there. See the cat sit and stare at us, and his eyes change in color. Without mention, after we left the house, we never returned to stay there again. My mom's cousin tried selling the house some years later, but ended up not being able to sell it for some faulty reason or another. When people would come to tour it, people said they would feel some rooms really cold, colder than others, and would feel as if someone was watching them. I know it may be hard to believe, but I think it was a way of Aunt Trini to keep or to trying to hold on to a place she held so close to her even after her death. That's pretty profound. I I know some people may roll their eyes at a story like this, but I really do believe that there are, some practices where people could do these kind of things. I really do. I mean, it's all, if we are indeed creator beings, if we are indeed these beings that are profoundly creating our experience every moment of every day, that is literally, quite simply, the manifestation of the energy we put out into our world, into our place. And so we experience things not only just saying, hey, I think today's just going to suck, and then it sucks. Well, I think it's more profound than that. Like, we manifest our lessons. We manifest our not just emotions, but the circumstances of our life. We manifest poverty. We manifest illness. We manifest, so much more. And so the practices like this are simply meant to focus, to learn to focus that manifestation. And I know a lot of these things are very ritualistic and very peculiar and dark and creepy, but ultimately, it doesn't have to be accomplished in that same manner. That's just one manner of getting people to learn to manifest. I don't know. I don't know if I can say too much about it because I don't claim to be an expert. It's just what I think about it is that, these kind of things are real. There's many, many, many instances of people who have dealt in magic. I mean, hell, go to New Orleans and listen to the stories down there. And there's so much magic practicing going on in the form of voodoo and other arts. That whole town is crawling with different energy. So just my 2 cents, but I think these kind of things I think are possible. All right, so the next one is coming out of Montana. All right. Ooh, I just dropped my cap. I guess I won't be sealing that back up. So what's going on in Montana? This is Duke's country over there. So the story takes place in the northern Rockies of western Montana. The house I lived in was an 1880s Western Victorian that once housed miners for the Anaconda Company. The day I walked into this house the first time, I could feel a warm embrace that I hadn't felt before or since. So on that day, I made an offer, and it was accepted. The house would give me glimpses of a hidden world from time to time. The first few were haunting violin music from an empty upstairs room very late at night. And there were also many nights I would see things, shapes, shadows, and mists of sorts. Though the true contact of this entity happened on a brisk autumn evening after returning home from a long day at work. I had no shower in this old home, so I bathed in a period clawfoot tub, and I ran the tub like any other time, hopped in and lathered up, and the water was a bit too warm for my liking, so with soap all over me and eyes shut, I reached for the cold water side and turned it, and to my surprise, I had turned the hot water on full blast. Feverishly trying to get the soap out of my eyes to remedy the water situation, I opened one eye in time to watch the hot water turn off without any help from me. Wow. I remember every experience that home had to show me with a fondness and hope that one day I would return and thank it for opening my already very open eyes. That's a cool story. I was in the shower once, and it was a 1 in a million thing, and I honestly thought it was paranormal at the time, and I don't know now. I mean, I still think it could have been, but I was in the shower, and in my shower, I got this like shower caddy thing that hangs on the shower spout. So the shower spout comes out of the wall, and there's a shower caddy, and in the shower caddy, of course, I have my shampoo and conditioner and soaps and all that stuff. So I'm in the shower, and I just got done using the shampoo, and I put it back in the shower caddy like I have a million other times. And I'm washing, and all of a sudden I hear thump like that. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And all of a sudden the water turned absolutely hot and was blasting on my back. And I thought for sure I had blisters forming. It was so hot. So I'm like, you're all buck naked in there full of soap and burning. And I grabbed the shower curtain and I'm holding it up there. And then I reach around and turned off the water. And well, what had happened was somehow the shampoo bottle fell out of the shower caddy and fell down onto the two faucet handles, but only one of them. It fell on the cold water and shut it right off just by landing on it. Somehow it shut it all the way off. And that hot water just blasted. It was horrible. And I was like, how the hell did that happen? And I still don't know. But I mean, it could be normal, it could be mundane, but it also could be really creepy. So I don't know. True story though. It did happen. Let's get to the next one. Then we're going to Iowa this time, ladies and gentlemen. Not missing anything? Nope. We're doing good. Okay. So in Iowa, last night I was up late. I didn't get up to bed. I didn't get to bed until about 1 in the morning. And I was lying in bed and thinking to myself a lot about life. And I heard an unfamiliar voice in my head, but dismissed it to just being really tired and thinking so much. And this voice, as I recall, came along with a fluttering noise that seemed to be copying everything I was thinking. After a few more minutes, about 1:15, I started to doze off and I had my eyes closed and saw an image of a bald, evil-looking monk in a brown robe, and it startled me awake. And this is about 1:45 a.m., and I knew I was completely awake but couldn't move at all. It seemed like the entire room was filled with a loud hum or rumble. My ears were ringing, and I heard something that sounded like something screeching. It was pitch black, and my entire body got extremely hot. I tried with all my might to move my hand to my necklace of the Saint Mary, and when I finally reached it, I started reciting the Lord's Prayer over and over in my head. And after a few minutes, the noise went away, and I felt the pressure release from my body. I sat up, and my entire body was tingling. I got up immediately and went to my mom's room because I was so freaked out. I was sleeping in my parents' room, and it was about an hour and a half later, and I once again woke up startled, and I know I was wide awake once again, but I couldn't move, and I thought, why are you doing this to me? Stop. And after a few seconds, the sound went away, and I could move. But once again, I felt the tingle all over my body. I tried to get back to sleep, but every time I was just about to doze off, my eyes would close, and I saw a flash of a scary image that would startle me awake. I didn't get any sleep after that. I'm kind of afraid to see how it goes tonight. Hopefully it's better and I can sleep undisturbed, and I'll be back and comment on how it goes. Thanks for your interest. Sleep well. I don't know. They never did write another one, so I guess it went okay. Guess it went all right. They got some sleep, apparently. I'll just scroll down to look, and there's no other addendum to that, so good job. All right, this one's coming from Massachusetts. Hey, everyone, it's me again. I'm going to tell you about the freakiest thing that happened to my uncle. My cousin just won a soccer game, and Uncle wanted to celebrate with some ice cream, and so when we were walking down the sidewalk, my uncle just suddenly stopped, and his eyes turned kind of black and lifeless. It scared the hell out of me, and I might mention that this is about 10 p.m., so I was just going to ask him what was wrong, and he started to stare at me with this evil look and said, "Let's not get ice cream anymore." My cousin Dave gave me a disapproving look and grabbed my hand, and we walked home. On the way back, my cousin and I heard my uncle muttering nonsense to himself in a language that kind of sounded like German. We got scared, and we didn't even want to talk to him anymore. I don't blame you. Then he turned around wicked fast, as if he knew what me and my cousin were thinking. My cousin didn't want to look into his eyes because they were really frightening. What did I see? Oh. Cable came through, but I didn't hear it. So his eyes were really frightening. My cousin didn't want to look into his eyes because they were really frightening, and my uncle said in a voice that was not his own, "Oh, jeez. Satan is here. He will take me tonight." Jeez. My cousin tugged on my t-shirt, and we both bolted down the street like rockets. And when I looked back to see if my uncle was chasing us, I saw him going crazy and hitting himself in the head. Then I didn't want to look back because I was thinking to myself, what the hell? I don't know. Then the story ends, so I don't know if the uncle made it or what the hell happened after that. Very weird. I don't know. That's all we know. That's all that was given to us. Let's go to Illinois and see what's going on in Illinois, shall we? When I was 16, I told my grandma that when I reach the age of 18, I was going to change my name. I was named after her and my aunt, and I did not know that I had hurt her feelings. I just did not like my name and wanted something more common, like a lot of my friends' names were, and I was so adamant about the change that I had a few of the names picked out for that special occasion. My grandmother believed in ghosts, and she would tell me and my sister ghost stories about her experiences, as well as her siblings and friends. They were really scary, and I would listen for hours and hours. She was a very good storyteller. Well, back to the story. After my granny told her ghost stories, I laid down for the night, and I got a scary feeling, and I kind of put my head under the bed covers, and suddenly something or someone grabbed my head and pushed down on my head so hard I couldn't move and could barely breathe. I tried for a few seconds to pull the covers off my head, but I couldn't. The pain was really severe, and I was about to scream out for my grandmother, and then the pressure of the hold on my head let go. I jerked the covers down and saw no one. I know it could not have been a live person because I would have seen them running away or standing there beside the bed. And that gave me the oddest feeling, and I was really terrified. I jumped out of bed and climbed up to the top of my grandmother's bed and finally fell asleep. I told her about it the next morning, and she just smiled at me. It was a long time before I spent the night there again, and I never mentioned anything else about changing my name, and that pressure never happened again. Yep, that'll learn you. Okay, so let's go to Wisconsin, home of the greatest cheese curds God ever invented. They are amazing. Wisconsin cheese curds, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with cheese curds, you're missing some some amazing food. They do deep fried cheese curds. Oh my God, forget about it. They are just phenomenal. True story. If you ever get to Wisconsin, try to find some deep fried cheese curds. You'll thank me. You'll probably have heart condition after that, but you'll thank me. All right, so Wisconsin, what's going on there? To all who read this, this is my story of what happens on a daily basis in my home, work, or wherever I'm at. The focus here is to show you what goes on in my home. Now, please keep in mind, my home isn't haunted. My home is not haunted. It was in May of 2006. I was home alone, the kids were at school, and my husband was at work, and I had all the windows open, and I was cleaning, and just to get that extra fresh air smell in my house. And as I was walking through the kitchen to the formal dining room, someone started banging on my cabinets. I turned around so fast because it startled me, and right away, I knew it was my Aunt Sharon who passed away in the summer of 2005. I yelled at her saying, "Aunt Sharon, don't scare me, now stop it." And at that point, I grabbed my cell phone and went downstairs in the washroom to call my husband and tell him what just happened. I tell him everything. While I was walking into the family room on the lower level, I turned on the lights to see, and as my husband picked up on the other line, the lights started going on and off. I was freaked, even though I knew who it was. It really caught me off guard. As my husband said hello to me, I screamed at my Aunt Sharon, telling her it was not funny and to never scare me like that again. To this day, she has not done that. But I welcome her in my home. She just has to behave herself. I have so many stories of what goes on, some scary, some funny. If you enjoyed this story, please leave me a message. Well, it's a good story. Again, there's a lot of strength in claiming your space. If you have a presence, tell them, hey, this is my house and this is the rules. Don't do that. 90% of the time it should work. That should stop. Now the other percentage, you might need a lot of help. All right, so this one sounds dark. This one might be dark, but we'll see. But it comes from Tennessee. This story takes place right outside of Millington, Tennessee. At the time, I was 12, and this was my very first encounter. My best friend was going to have a slumber party to celebrate her 12th birthday, and she invited me and two other girls, and I was the oldest by a few months, and we arrived in the same car, and the party started about 7:00 p.m., and we started by eating cake and attempting to play Clue, and then we attempted to play Twister, and her mother went to bed, and her older brother was spending the night at his friend's house about 20 miles away, and her mother told us to go to my friend's room, and so we did, and one of her other friends told us a ghost story, and then my friend did something I regret to this day. She told us about her imaginary friend, and I knew that she was only trying to scare the other girls. And she said that her friend showed up at midnight and left at 1:00 a.m. Then at midnight, it came. It started with me telling them I could tell when bad things were going to happen, and that I had just seen a warning. And they all got scared, but we were thirsty, so they went to the kitchen to get some of the drinks. Well, when I got halfway down the hall, I remembered that I forgot something in the room and went back to get it. When I came down the hall, I felt like I was being choked. I was literally unable to breathe. The two other girls were looking at me and saw my face turning blue, and my friend was looking down the hall when I saw the look on her face. I turned around, still gasping for air and crying, and I still remember the creature to this day. It was in her brother's room staring at me with red eyes. It was like a shadow, but it was tall and had large bat wings. I turned away and started being able to breathe again, but when I looked at the room again, the creature was gone. We all ran back to the room, shut, locked, and put a chair under the door. 30 minutes later, we heard someone walking down the hall, and we called out my friend's mother's name, and no one answered. So we called out again, and still no answer. Then the doorknob jiggled. We all huddled together on my friend's bed, and we never heard footsteps leave. Sure enough, at 1:00, the presence was completely gone. Just to be sure, we didn't sleep at all. Yikes. I don't know. She said it's an invisible friend, but I don't think that's a good friend. All right, this is Tennessee again. All right. How are we doing on time? We're doing fine. Doing absolutely fine. Okay, so Tennessee, this one's pretty long. This one's a lot long. This will probably be the last one for tonight. Let me look at this other one. How long is this? Not too long. All right, I'll read the really long one, and maybe I'll read the last one. We'll see. As most stories start out on a dark and stormy night, I'll go past the horror formalities and just tell you exactly what happened. I'd been living in Memphis for over a year, and at this time was living with a good friend of mine named Carl in an apartment complex in East Memphis. We got along well and greatly enjoyed living together, but due to the scorn of her local bishop, she was told that one of us would have to move. Oh my God. All right. Seeing as how she had more furniture than I did, I decided to go and let her stay in the apartment. Mid-September, I began looking for an apartment in the Midtown area, and Midtown is the artsy part of town where the bohemian wannabes and young hippie art students live. Long story short, I found an apartment on the top floor of the Alta Vista complex on Poplar and Clark that fit into my price range. So I moved out of East Memphis apartment and settled into my new place. This was my first time living completely alone, and I'd always had a roommate before, and I didn't know how I would handle the situation, but as luck would have it, after a few weeks, I started getting comfortable with my new surroundings, and I started going out at night in the neighborhood to the local bars and clubs, and Midtown life seemed to agree with me. I had made several new friends that came over frequently, so I spent very little time alone. However, the night everything started, no one but myself would be witness to. It all began on a Saturday in October, and I was lying on the couch watching television with my dog, and his name was Cameron, and he was a beautiful black lab, and I had adopted shortly after moving into Alta Vista, and we were relaxing on the couch when I began to hear scratching inside the walls. This building was built in 1912, and although I had never seen any, I knew it had to play host to a variety of bugs and mice, and I naturally assumed that's where the noises came from. And I would have been satisfied with that theory if the situation had not suddenly exploded as it did. Around 11 p.m., I decided it was time for a shower before I proceeded with the evening's activities, and I went to the bathroom and started the water running, removed my clothes and stepped inside the tub, and that's when the scratching in the walls stopped, and something started banging at the front door. I bolted from the tub and wrapped myself in a towel as I walked to the living room, and "Who is it?" I called, but no one returned with an answer. Suddenly, in front of my eyes, the banging started again. It almost took my breath away. Whoever was on the other side of that door was banging with such force that it was shaking the door inside its frame. It was obvious that whoever was on the outside wanted in, and I was not about to give them that permission. "Who is it?" I yelled over and over. "I'm not opening the door until you tell me who you are." And then the banging stopped. Seeing as how I lived on the third floor of the apartment building, I looked out the window at the courtyard to see who was coming out of the stairwell. I waited for several minutes before realizing that whoever it was stayed in the hall. They didn't leave. I jerked the door open and looked down the stairs. Still no one. There was nobody in the stairwell at all. How strange. I closed the door and went back inside and called to my mom to tell her what had happened, and for the rest of that night, everything stayed quiet. However, every other night after that was interrupted with the loud pounding at the door. This was something I complained about frequently to the office, but being unable to identify the guilty person, my complaints went seemingly unnoticed. Fast forward to late October. By this time, the pounding was a frequent occurrence, being that it happened almost every night, but the only difference was now I had friends who had witnessed it firsthand. One night before the situation worsened, I happened to be in the bathroom again brushing my teeth when the knock started, and I turned and looked down the hallway and could see the door being beaten so roughly that it looked as if it were about to come down from its frame. It had never been this bad before. It was always loud, don't get me wrong, but never to the point of pounding and shaking. I walked down the hallway towards the front room, when out of the corner of my eye I saw a plaster figure that I had hung beside my bedroom door fly from the spot it was hanging and hit the wall opposite of it. I was stunned. I couldn't move. I couldn't believe what had just happened. It came off the wall with such force that it broke a few of the pieces off when it hit the wall across from it, and again, just as before, the banging stopped. My first instinct was, get out, move, find a new place. But I was under a 6-month lease, and that would be charged a fine, plus they would keep my deposit. And I planned on getting that money back one day, so I stayed. After October passed, I went to the supermarket to pick up some pumpkins for decoration in honor of Thanksgiving. And I bought 5 with 5 of the big perfect gourds and lined them up on the tops of my china cabinets. I went home for Thanksgiving, and Cameron and I piled into the car and took off to Mama's house for the holiday. It was great, no banging, pounding, or flying objects. I came back home on a Monday. I came into the apartment and threw my bag down. I went down the hallway to the bathroom to use the restroom. After I finished, I emerged from the bathroom and discovered that I had left my kitchen door shut. I turned the knob and pushed, and something was behind the door. I pushed again, and something was definitely on the other side of the door, blocking me from opening it. I pushed hard and got it open. And I looked behind the door and discovered that one of the pumpkins that I had placed on my china cabinets had been hurled at the back of the door, and you could see where it had hit, where the guts had splashed out. and where it slid onto the floor. I panicked as I looked around the room and saw that all of my pumpkins were lying on the floor. How could this happen? No one had a key. There were no signs of forced entry, and I felt like I was losing my mind. Well, sad to say, after this huge ordeal, I did wind up breaking my lease and letting them keep my deposit. I never slept in that apartment again. P.S. I forgot to tell you about the pantry. You see, I didn't have air conditioning in that apartment, and it got really hot in the late summer. But I discovered that the pantry in the kitchen was always cold as ice for some unknown reason. So when I would wake up sweating at night, I would take go stand in the pantry. Also, I caught the dog staring at it on several occasions and growling. The whole situation creeps me out. So, so he's cooling off with the presents. That'll do it, I guess. That'd be one good thing, for ghostly presents on those hot summer days. Come in and drop the temperature to air conditioning level. Could work. All right, so what time? Yeah, I'll go through this one. This one's pretty short, and this one will be the last one for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so I hope you've enjoyed this. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Jess. Thanks. So this is coming from Nebraska. No matter where I go, what I do, strange, maybe paranormal things happen. I've posted a couple of other stories, and those are of past accounts of some of the major occurrences I've experienced, and I feel that this site is the perfect format to share these happenings. My office has just over than doubled itself. It took over 2 years and a lot of renovation, remodeling, and construction, and now we're all trying to settle in and get comfortable. By doubling its size, new ground was broke, of course, and the existing structure added one to forming a whole. The existing structure added one to forming a whole. I don't know. I'm just reading as it's written. To my knowledge, the land added on to at one time had homes on it, and these homes have long since been taken down. I have office in the older section of the building now, actually not far from where my previous office was. However, now, instead of sharing an office, I have a private one. Yep, a small promotion along with it, thank goodness. Over the last couple of weeks, settling into my new office has been really exciting, interesting, and frustrating. The business does not stop day to day to let you settle in, the main reason I'm here on a Saturday. Over the last couple of days, strange occurrences have been taking place in this portion of my building. Yesterday, I left a soda on my desk and went to a meeting and then returned. No one in this wing of the building at the time, and my office was locked. The lid was replaced on the soda, and it had moved to another file cabinet across the room. This morning, I sat at my computer to catch up on correspondences, and I felt 2 taps on my shoulder. I have my back to the wall, and the door is closed, and I'm the only one in here, and this has happened 7 times in the last 2 weeks. Generally, I'm a few minutes after the taps on my shoulder, I hear whispering. Oh man, that's creepy. 2 or 3 different voices, at least one male, almost as if in a conversation. Now, as I look across my office, it's rather large. 2 of the ceiling tiles are moved, and they were not that way when it came in this morning. I'm not sure what to do. I've never dealt with these things actually in my office, and I'm not sure how to respond or react. I'm certain people I work with would probably want to see me committed, but if I brought this up, and I cannot reach the ceiling tiles to put them back into place. Well, it sounds like you need yourself some saging and some help. Paranormal help, of course. I don't mean to imply that he's somehow mentally deficient, but yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. You add on, you want to see if you've got a ghost in your house? Do some construction. That riles them up real quick. So, Nellie, you can't leave yet. I'm not done yet. Yep, nothing more since cable, so that was the last word given tonight after icicle cable. Well, that's it. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is Wednesday, and it's another day of the Paranormal Portal podcast. And again, special thanks to Revolver Podcasts for making all this possible. The episode tomorrow is about UFOs, and it's Don and I talking about the secret space program, reverse engineering, bases on the moon. It's just all kinds of goodness. And I hope you guys will check it out, and please subscribe to the podcast if you would. That would be really cool. So, otherwise, Don will be with me tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and we will get into our Wednesday mayhem. Love to you too, Diana. Thank you for being here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And make sure to like the feed if you haven't already. And sweet dreams, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.